I always thought that nothing could surprise me anymore. But what I heard that night broke me from the inside out. Wait until the end of this story to find out. I didn't catch on at first, it was just passwords. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all changed without warning. Melissa brushed it off with that easy laugh of hers, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear like nothing was wrong. Oops, I forgot, she said. Once, then again, then 3 more times. It felt more like neglect than malice back then, the sort of forgetfulness that comes from distraction. I assumed it was work stress or maybe just fatigue, and I let it slide because letting things slide had become second nature. But things don't slide forever. Eventually they break. Josh was the one who snapped the line. Our son, 10 years old, sitting at the kitchen counter, phone in hand, swiping through TikTok videos while I was finishing dishes. "Dad," he said with that innocent curiosity only kids have, "why are you on TikTok?" I told him I wasn't. "Then why's this guy wearing your shirt?" I froze with my hands in the sink, water running. I leaned over his shoulder to see it, a shaky video shot from above. Melissa was in our backyard. Her hands were resting on the chest of a man I didn't recognize, but he was unmistakably wearing one of my old t-shirts. My shirt, the faded gray one with the little tear near the neckline. I knew the sound of that tear when I pulled it over my head every Saturday morning. My backyard, my wife, my shirt, my son watching. I didn't say anything. I told Josh it must be an old clip, a filter, something silly. I smiled. He laughed and moved on, his thumb already searching for the next distraction. But I felt something in my chest bend and twist, like metal under heat. That night I sorted through mail on the dining table. Melissa was upstairs reading maybe. I wasn't sure anymore. I found a small receipt tucked between credit card bills and a brochure for roofing services we didn't need. A purchase order, a security camera from a brand I'd never used, delivered to our address. My card hadn't been charged. She must have used her own, maybe even picked it up herself. I looked at the date, 3 weeks ago. The next item was a photo, printed from Walgreens, left in an envelope addressed to her. A dog I didn't recognize, a golden retriever puppy, grinning with its tongue lolling sideways. In the corner, her handwriting. "Miss you both." Not me. I read that note over and over again. Both. We didn't own a dog. The next morning she kissed me on the cheek like always. Her lips were warm, soft, like they'd always been. Maybe they still meant something. Maybe they never did. I watched her back as she walked to the car, briefcase in hand, makeup flawless, heels tapping the driveway. She still looked like the woman I married. Maybe that was the cruelest part. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell or accuse or question. I simply started paying closer attention. Her phone stayed with her constantly now, even when she showered. She locked her laptop the second she stood from it. She laughed more often, but never with me. And once, late at night, I heard her whispering to someone in the living room while I pretended to sleep. She said, "I wish I was there." Then softer, "I know, me too." I began taking the kids to school. It gave me excuses, a reason to rearrange the routine. I picked them up, volunteered at the school fair, helped Josh with science club, sat in for Emily's first grade reading day. I told everyone it was burnout from work, corporate exhaustion, nothing serious. I told Melissa I needed a break to reset. She didn't question it. She didn't ask if I was okay. I thought maybe she'd bring up the TikTok clip. Maybe she'd feel the weight of guilt, but she never did. Maybe she assumed I hadn't seen it. Maybe she thought I was too naive to notice. What she didn't know was that I had already started digging. She joined a new gym recently. Nothing fancy, but she talked about it often, like it was some retreat. "It helps clear my head," she said. "I feel like myself again." I visited the gym one afternoon, asked to speak with the manager under the pretense of joining, told him my wife was a member, that she loved it, and I wanted to surprise her. His name was Cal, a former college linebacker with a friendly face, and no reason to suspect I was probing. "She's great," he said. "Super motivated. Comes in with Jeff all the time." I blinked. "Jeff?" "Yeah, Jeff Benson. Big guy, real focused. They usually use the same key card." I asked if I could book a private trial session, you know. See what all the hype was about. Cal smiled and put me down for Thursday morning. I arrived early. Melissa walked in 10 minutes after me, ponytail swinging, smile wide. Jeff, if that was his real name, was right behind her. A little older than I expected, thick-necked, confident. His hand hovered on the small of her back, just long enough to mean something. Neither of them saw me. They walked right past, laughing about something I couldn't hear. I followed from a distance, just close enough to see when Jeff dropped his gym bag by the front desk. The zipper was halfway open. Something slipped out, a worn leather wallet and a small folder tucked inside. He picked it up quickly, but not before I snapped a photo with my phone. On the ID card inside the folder, Jeffrey Allen Benson. Underneath, a faded line of text I had to zoom in later to read, conviction, extortion, Class D felony. Melissa had a type, apparently. That night, she was unusually tender. Sat close on the couch, made tea, even rested her head on my shoulder. For a moment, I considered just asking, ripping it all open, letting the storm tear through the walls. But I didn't. I held her hand, sipped the tea, played along. She had no idea how much I already knew. She had no clue what I was preparing, because some storms don't hit all at once. Some arrive in silence. And when they do, they don't just wash away what was built. They drown whatever was pretending to hold it together. I didn't quit my job because of burnout. That's just what I let people believe. The truth was, I needed time. Time to get in front of what was happening to my life. Time to take control again. I wasn't going to wait around for everything to crash. Melissa had started something behind my back. I wasn't going to let her finish it without me seeing how far she planned to go. So I walked Josh and Emily to school each morning, volunteered at their activities. I reinserted myself into every part of our routine. To her, it probably looked like I was just trying to be present again, but I was watching, listening. Every errand, every gym visit, every casual excuse to stay late. I logged it all. I knew Melissa had joined a new gym, talked about it often, like it was her sanctuary. I visited one afternoon under the guise of checking it out and casually asked the manager, Cal, if I could speak with someone about signing up. He was friendly, chatted about the place, its crowd. I mentioned my wife was already a member. Melissa, I said. Cal raised his eyebrows. Oh yeah, she's great. Comes in all the time with Jeff. Jeff? Yeah, Jeff Benson. Big guy. Uses her key card sometimes. That was all I needed. I created a fake account using the name Ethan Cole. Booked a private training session through the gym's site. They scheduled me with Melissa. She walked in Thursday morning in full workout gear, just like I expected. But she didn't come alone. Jeff Benson was with her. Broad frame, confident smile. His hand slid to the small of her back like he belonged there. I introduced myself under the fake name. He shook my hand, said his name like he was proud of it. I held eye contact. Said nothing about the way he looked at her. During our session, he hung nearby, pretending to scroll through his phone. As we wrapped up, he dropped his gym bag by the desk. A folder slipped from the side. Papers, a photo ID, a few clipped documents. I caught a clean burst shot with my phone before he scooped it up. His full name, a list of company affiliations. One of them, Novatree Holdings, I recognized from a financial crimes article. Linked to a crypto exchange under investigation. That night, Melissa was extra sweet. Cooked my favorite meal. Laughed like she hadn't lied every day for weeks. I kept my cool and forwarded the photos to Eric, a cybersecurity friend I hadn't spoken to in a while. I told him I needed help accessing some synced cloud data. Whose cloud? He asked. My wife's. He hesitated. You sure about this? Yeah, I said. I'm sure. It took him 2 days. By Saturday, I had it. Messages from her phone backups, emails, chats, an entire Second Life archived. There were threads between her and Benson. At first, vague mentions of investments, opportunities, then direct, full crypto wallet IDs, screenshots of transfers, even a joke about me. David won't ask, she typed. He's too trusting. They were using my name for the accounts, my credentials. If the authorities ever came knocking, I'd be the one with the target on my back. She wasn't just sleeping with someone else. She was setting me up. I compiled everything, created a clean, professional dossier, highlighted key dates, messages, linked Benson's background, and the known shell companies. I mailed it anonymously to an SEC field office tied to the crypto investigation. On Monday, Melissa came home pale. "There was a message at work," she said, trying to sound casual. "Something about an audit. It's probably nothing." I nodded. "Yeah, weird." She barely touched her dinner, went to bed early. The next day she called me 4 times in a row. I didn't pick up. She left voicemails, panicked, uncertain. "David, please. Something's happening. I don't know what's going on. Can you call me?" I texted her once. "This is just the beginning." She read it instantly. No reply, no typing bubble. I stared at the screen, waiting. The thing about storms is they don't always make noise at first. Sometimes they just gather quietly, building in the dark. But when they finally hit, they don't knock. They tear the doors off the frame. I knew I had about 3 weeks left before the divorce filing would hit Melissa's world like a wrecking ball. That meant 3 weeks to secure the future. Not just mine, but our kids. I wasn't interested in revenge, yet. I was interested in survival. In walking out of this disaster without the system pinning me to the floor while she played victim. So I started small. I convinced her to sign a few documents under the pretense of enrolling Josh in a summer STEM camp. Told her they required power of attorney to approve medical situations, permissions for travel. She didn't even read them, just signed. I slipped them in with 3 more pages, one that transferred her half of our joint property into a private family trust set up in Josh's name. I made sure it was airtight. If she wanted to fight me in court later, she'd be doing it while on the defensive. Melissa was still spiraling. After that SEC scare, she walked lighter, talked less. No more humming while chopping vegetables. No more random texts during the day. It was like something had short-circuited her rhythm, and I let it. I didn't ask questions. I gave her space, because space made people careless. That's when Eric called. "She's been emailing from a secondary address," he said, "tied to a crypto wallet that's bounced money into 3 different names. One of them uses your social. Another uses a variation." My heart didn't even race. I just felt cold. "They're laundering through you," he added. "Benson's the architect, but she's fully complicit. She's forwarding everything. The wallets are under your tax ID." I leaned back in my chair, my jaw set. Is that enough? For prosecution? Maybe. For making her panic? Absolutely. I spent that afternoon assembling a second packet. I flagged the crypto transfers that used my identity, pulled copies of IRS documents that tied Melissa to our household returns. And then I made a quiet call to the investigator who'd acknowledged my original submission. "I have new material," I said. "She's using my SSN." He didn't need convincing. Melissa got the follow-up summons 2 days later. She stood in the kitchen, holding the envelope with trembling fingers. "What is this?" she asked. I shrugged. "Looks official. I don't understand why they're contacting me again." I tilted my head. "Maybe they found something." She stared at me, searching for a crack in my calm. "Did you have anything to do with this?" I met her eyes. "Should I have?" She didn't ask again. By the following Monday, I'd moved her name off every account that mattered. The mortgage was already refinanced under my name. An offer I told her came with a lower interest rate if we consolidated early. She agreed like it was no big deal. Just one less bill to worry about. Our checking account had a daily cap she couldn't exceed. Her cards started getting declined for mid-range purchases. $300 sneakers, a spa package, a hotel deposit. She complained. I listened, nodded sympathetically. "You know," I said one evening as she tapped angrily at her banking app, "maybe someone's flagging our accounts. It happens. Could be from the SEC stuff." Her face drained. "They can do that?" "Sure," I said softly. "They can do anything." She started making calls the next day, to her bank, her boss, probably even Benson. She left the room each time, pretending the kids couldn't hear her. Emily did, though. She asked me, "Why does Mom sound scared all the time now?" "She's just tired," I told her. Not a lie. Just not the whole truth. I had one final move to make. It wasn't legal, it wasn't financial, it was personal. Melissa had kept a photo of the retriever, That dog tucked in her closet behind a stack of scarves. I'd seen it the night I found the receipt for the security camera. I took it out now, held it under the light. On the back, that same message. Miss you both. I reverse searched the photo, found a match in an adoption profile. The dog had been posted under a couple's account, names blurred, but I traced it through tags. It led me to a burner Instagram account Melissa had made, not under her name, under a different one, Sarah Wynn. There were pictures, her, Benson, the dog, a small apartment porch I didn't recognize. My wife had built a trial life with another man, a second identity, a practice version of the family she was going to have when she finally pulled the trigger. Only she didn't get the chance. I printed every photo, dozens of them. I slid them into a manila envelope and placed it inside a drawer in my office. Not to confront her, not yet, just to remember what I was walking away from. She still didn't know I was the reason Benson had stopped showing up. He'd gone silent since the second summons. No gym visits, no driveway drop-offs. I figured he'd gotten cold feet. Or maybe she'd become more liability than thrill. One night she cried in bed, tried to hold my hand while pretending to sleep. I let her, not because I forgave her, but because I wanted to feel what it was like, touching a stranger you used to know. 3 weeks to the day from when she signed those trust papers, I sat down at my laptop and opened a document titled Final Draft. It was our divorce filing, complete with custody requests, asset disclosures, and an attached report from the SEC confirming active investigation into Benson and an unnamed party with partial marital connection. Melissa wasn't going to be charged yet, but her name was tainted. She hadn't been sleeping with just another man. She'd been sleeping with the anchor dragging her into the deep, and I was already swimming back to shore. The sky was clear that Friday evening, that kind of golden hour where even the worst days could look innocent for a while. I stood over the grill, flipping burgers, listening to the sizzle like it was the only sound that mattered. The kids were running around with water guns, barefoot on the grass. Our friends from the neighborhood had come, the ones who never asked too many questions, just laughter, smoke, and the smell of charcoal filling the backyard. Melissa was playing hostess, smiling too wide, talking too loud. She wore a sundress she hadn't touched in years. I watched her pour drinks like she was trying to pretend nothing in her life was cracked open. The same woman who had stopped looking me in the eye at breakfast was now leaning into conversations, kissing cheeks, offering second helpings like the Queen of Suburbia. But I knew what was coming. I had made sure of it. The moment was timed down to the minute. I'd sent the final call 2 days earlier, attached the proof, the amended trust files, the revised property holdings, the transcript of the messages that mentioned the crypto laundering, the alias she used online, the receipts tied to Benson's transfers. A complete arc of evidence wrapped in a ribbon of silence. I didn't want a scene. I wanted truth. They arrived just after the sun dipped below the roofline. 2 unmarked cars, 1 black SUV. Doors opened and 3 agents stepped into the yard like they were looking for the host of the party. The kind of presence that pulls every laugh into silence. Even the kids stopped, sensing the shift. Melissa spotted them before anyone else. Her smile twitched and dropped. One of the agents asked for her by name. Her voice came out as barely a whisper. "That's me." They didn't cuff her. They didn't raise their voices. They just showed a document and asked her to step aside. She looked at me, eyes wide, lips parting like she had something to say. I didn't give her the courtesy of meeting her stare. Behind them, Benson was pulled from his car 2 blocks away. That was intentional. I'd given the agents both addresses. I didn't want him showing up here and turning this into something messy. The agents led Melissa toward the side gate. She tripped once. No one moved to help. Someone near me asked what was going on. SEC, I said. Looks like something with her investments. A few awkward nods. The kind of silence people fill with sudden excuses to leave early. When she was gone, I walked inside, wiped my hands, and pulled out the custody papers. Already signed. Sole legal and physical custody. No contest. She'd given it to me a week earlier, when I told her we needed to start separating assets. She never read what she signed. By Monday, she'd be living somewhere else. By Tuesday, I'd filed everything. By Friday, the house would be mine. A month passed. Seattle was cold but clean. I bought a house on the outskirts. Quiet, 2 stories. an old fireplace that made the whole place smell like cedar in the mornings. The kids settled in fast. Josh played guitar now, badly but passionately. Emily insisted on helping with breakfast every weekend, usually ending with syrup on the ceiling and eggshells in the batter. There was a dog now. Not hers. Not the one from the photo. Ours. A mutt from the shelter. Brown and shaggy. Always wet from the rain. Always on the couch. He followed Emily around like she was made of sunlight. I didn't talk about Melissa. Not to the kids. Not to anyone. There was nothing left to say. She'd reached out a few times. Voicemails, one letter. A message from her lawyer asking if we could discuss the transition more cooperatively. I ignored all of it. Not because I was angry. Because I was done. One evening I opened a bottle of cider and pulled out an old film reel from the basement. Something Josh had begged me to digitize. It was from a summer 3 years back. He tried to flip off the diving board and landed flat on his back. I'd caught it on an old camcorder and we'd all laughed until we cried. Now, sitting in that warm living room, with the fire crackling and the kids watching cartoons nearby, I watched that same clip in silence. His awkward legs midair, the splash, his head popping up, eyes wide, then laughter. Mine and Melissa's, echoing faintly behind the lens. She sounded different back then. We both did. My phone buzzed. Her name. I tapped block without hesitation. Then I stepped onto the porch. The night was cold, wind in the trees, the scent of rain somewhere not far away. The dog followed, settled at my feet, and just like that, it was behind me. All of it. No more lies. No more second guessing. Just air in my lungs and the sound of my kids laughing through the walls. Let her explain herself to someone else now. Let her build a new story with someone else's name. Whatever came next, it wouldn't include her. Not ever again. That's all for now, folks. Thank you for being with me today and listened. And if you liked my story, please subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below what you think about all this and what would you do if you were me. Also, don't forget to check my other stories in description below.